Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
As you are evolving from a classroom teacher to an administrator, have you had, and as a department chair, have you had faculty come to you and say, I don't think it's fair that this person gets this and I don't?
I can't say that I've had that happen to me here, right? So have I heard that in other places and other jobs and all over the place? Absolutely, right?
Okay.
I mean, there's a fairness. Have I heard it with students?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And is it sometimes an issue? Sure. Right. And
okay.
And if I'm in my teacher role, I can cause some effect on that fairness. Not being an administrator yet, if people feel like it's unfair, not a lot I can do about it. So I don't worry myself with that. But yeah, I mean, some people say that. Is it true? I don't know.
Okay.
Fairness seems like a perspective to me.
Well, and thank you. Because I sometimes, and again, working with clients, and a lot of things come up, things that, you kind of think about, but when you start hearing a lot more of it, I begin asking a lot more questions about, well, let's explore this. Let's talk about this. Let's do a deeper dive. And so I began to explore into the idea when somebody says, well, that's not fair. And as a kid, I get it. Kids are constantly saying, well, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Right.
Because it's fair if they get it. It's fair. It's not fair if they don't get it.
Right.
Whatever it might be.
Sure.
An accommodation at school or access to something that makes their job easier, their task simpler, something like that. But as we get to be adults, as we get into the workforce, even in, engaging with our neighbors, the concept of, well, that's just not fair. Why does the HOA treat them differently than they treat me? Why does the boss treat them differently than they do me? And so the question is it fair to say, especially as an adult, well, that's just not fair? And so that's why I just wonder about that.
I mean, my question would be, if you say it isn't fair, and it isn't fair that they treated this person differently than that, how do you know? How do you know how they treated them?
Uh-huh.
How do you know what it was? I mean, we taught government together, and a big thing in government that comes up is fairness.
Yeah.
But fairness is never a thing, right? It's more about equity.
Okay.
Right? And fairness and equity are not the same thing. Right? So equity speaks to the idea that everybody gets the same starting position, whereas fairness, really speaks of some kind of outcome. Mm-hmm. And so equity is more about the beginning, and fairness, evens out the end, maybe unfairly.
So are you saying then that our concept, what we take as the term, well, that's just fair or that's not fair, is an objective truth?
I mean, I think we want it to be, but it's really, fairness is really more subjective, right?
Okay.
It's what I call fair and what you call fair are going to be two different things, potentially.
Okay. I always say,
even in the same situation.
Oh, absolutely. And I would always, you joke with me about this, but I'd always tell the kids, the kids say, well, that's not fair. And I go, well, life isn't fair.
Sure.
If life was fair, I'd be rich, handsome, and skinny. As it is, I'm 2 out of 3.
Right.
And the kids would go, well, which 2? And I go, well, that's for you to decide.
Right.
But the idea is, do we fall into this fallacy of fairness? And if we do, is that causing us a lot of emotional distress?
Potentially. I think a lot of people really struggle with it. Social media is full of people complaining about fairness.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Don't get me started on that.
I mean, but the fact of the matter is that if we're talking about fairness, I think we're talking about outcomes.
Okay.
And are all outcomes fair? No. Dang it. I didn't win the Powerball.
No.
Somebody else did.
Yes.
And you know how many people have won the Powerball and I haven't? I don't think that's fair.
No. I concur.
That's not good. I saw an article about the Heisman Trophy.
Okay.
right? And the guy who didn't win is suing. Right?
Really?
He's suing the Heisman Committee for not choosing him.
Well, that's sour grapes.
And he's saying that he's only going to deal. He says it's unfair, and he's only going to because of his numbers or whatever, right? So he's looking for his outcome, and he's comparing it to the other. And fairness. They all had the same starting point, right? There was equity in the start.
Okay.
They were all quarterbacks. They were all throwing the ball. They all did the things, and somebody got chosen. Why did they get chosen? Well, they all had the same starting point. Somebody didn't like the outcome.
Well, and that's what I thought maybe we could do today is unpack this concept, this idea of fairness. And I'm going to try and lead us to, or my belief is that it is actually an emotional trap, that it will trap us like quicksand. It'll suck you in and it'll keep you there. And if you're not careful, it will swallow you whole.
Sure.
And it will have a huge negative impact as you just whine and complain about everything because, well, it's not fair. Well,
right.
Again, life isn't fair. It's not meant to be fair. And so I thought we'd start with, again, exploring this idea of the fallacy of fairness.
Okay.
And I mean, first of all, we could start with, we kind of have already hinted about this, but the idea of a fairness rule book. What is fairness? And it's a lot of, you're right, it's a super subjective because your idea of fair is going to be different maybe than my idea of fair because, well, we come from two different backgrounds. We have different different experiences growing up, different family experiences, different values, and our engagement with life so far has not been in parallel.
Right.
So the exposure to fairness is going to be different. Therefore, ta-da, our opinions are
and that's
different.
part of my point is that there's a lot of things that go into, like, everybody's life is so different, and there's so much that goes into those lives. How can you measure it? How can you measure the outcome as being fair? Not everybody's going to end up at the same place. If we did, we'd all be trillionaires.
Yeah.
And trillions, the dollar would be meaningless, right? So, that's not, and not everybody wants to be rich like that, right? So how do you know what's fair and what isn't?
Well, and that's kind of the issue. All right. And that's where I'm going with this rule book of fairness idea, because we are so different. That's where you're right. It is highly subjective, this concept of fairness. But if I don't feel like I'm being treated fairly at work, fairly at home, fairly in life, well, now I'm going to generate a lot of resentment. Everything is against me. The world is against me. You're against me. My boss is against me. Everybody is teaming up to screw Rod, and that's not fair.
Well, I'm sad that you figured that out. No, I mean, but seriously, that's not the case, right? Like nobody.
Sure.
We all like to think that we're important enough for everybody to come after us. But we're not.
No.
Right. I mean, it's just not. When we have value, right? But if we think we're that important, we probably have less value.
Well,
And so my question here would be, when you get to feeling the resentment, are you really doing yourself any favors with that? Or is your resentment really based in the fact that you're focused on the wrong thing? Like you didn't get the fair outcome you wanted because you didn't start at the right point, and you weren't going for the right thing.
You know what pisses me off about the fact that I'm not winning the Powerball has nothing to do with the fact that I don't play. I should just have a shot, a realistic, legitimate 1 in 5 shot of winning the $1.5 billion Powerball or whatever it might happen to be.
Right. I'm down with that. Of course, I don't know how you get to that big if people get to win who didn't play, but money's got to come from somewhere.
True, but I think part of what it comes from
right.
is this idea that you feel disrespected. But why are you feeling disrespected? Well, again, it comes from maybe a misrepresentation or your idea is distorted, so therefore your expectation is distorted.
Yeah. Did you ever see a track, like a track and field track? I'm just this picture comes into mind.
Yeah.
Right? So in a track and field track, they have some different starting points on the track.
Right.
If it happens to be in one of the corners, it's a straight line across the corner. If it happens to be on the straightaway, they're staggered. Does it seem fair?
I don't know.
What if I'm the runner on the outside? Should I be resentful?
Because you got to run farther.
Right? I mean, but the people, if you looked at that on the face of it, it would seem unfair that they're in different places.
Okay.
But really, it's because of the length of the track. The further you get out from the center, the longer the track is. And so you have to have a starting point that's in a different spot.
Okay.
Right? To have equity. It's not about the outcome. The outcome is determined by the runners.
Okay.
But you got to have a same starting point as far as equitable starting point, right?
Okay.
And so if I'm resentful of which location I start, that's crazy, right? Like we all started at the same spot and we're all shooting for the same goal. If I'm resentful because we all started at the same spot and I had a different goal, but I also didn't achieve your goal.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
Why am I resentful of that I didn't get your thing when I maybe should be doing something different?
Well, and that is one of the things too that I'd like to address is that as we begin to argue, well, that's just not fair. That's just not fair. Several things begin to happen. One is you begin to build these emotional walls of defense.
Sure. That
the world is, everybody's picking on poor little old me. And that my failures are because people are picking on me, and I'm not getting the same fair opportunity. And what happens then is you actually begin to have a mind shift, and you move away from problem solving. Mm-hmm. You just complain and gripe rather than kind of, well, as I have a mirror in my office, and I will have sometimes clients stand up, turn around and look in the mirror and say, now tell me what you see. Yeah. Because we don't like to look in the mirror and objectively self-reflect on maybe some of the reasons why, quote, and I put this in air quotes, life isn't fair, is because we've done something to ourselves to limit our own success, our own achievement.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's why I say the fairness trap is like quicksand. It sucks you in because it's easy to blame someone else than it is to blame us.
Well, that's the age-old thing, right? It's always easier to blame somebody else. It's everybody else's fault.
Oh.
All religions have that basic issue, right? And, I mean, politicians are great at it. Your neighbor's probably good at it, right? Like everybody is always blaming other people for things. But yeah, we seldom do any kind of like introspection to see like, what is it? Am I even on the right track? Right. For instance, you changed your careers.
Yeah.
Right. You did teaching for a long time. It was the thing. And you got a passion for counseling and you transitioned yourself to counseling. So, it wouldn't be logical for you to be now angry that you don't get to work in the school anymore or don't have the salary or the retirement piece that goes along with that because you chose to do another thing. Why did you choose that? Because it was the right thing for you.
And that's
so. In some respects, we need to let it go.
Oh, absolutely.
And focus on what is it we're supposed to do.
And I have found that I have sometimes fallen into this trap myself. And I've kind of, again, as I'm struggling to build my client base, I have commented, Sherry and I have talked about, or I've talked to some of my other coworkers about, I just don't understand why I'm not getting the clients at the same speed as some of the other new associates. But then I go, okay, well, Rod, what are you doing? What are you, how can you go out and attract more clients? And so I've fallen into this fairness trap, but I've been able to pull myself out of that quicksand and go, okay, well, you need to go do these things. And so I've been engaging in meeting with healthcare pastors at a number of the churches in our community. I've been engaging in a variety of other networking kinds of stuff to put my name out there. And I will say that slowly my client base is increasing.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like, yeah, I could whine and complain, or I could get out there and do something about it.
Yeah.
And I find that when I actually get out there and do something about it, wow, amazing how things change for the better.
Sure. And you feel good about it too, right?
Yeah.
Like you still feel like you're accomplishing something, getting out there and networking and talking to people and those things. So yeah, I mean, but I think that, figuring out what your path is more important than complaining about your path relative to somebody else's.
Oh,
Right. Just figure your path out.
And that's the thing is, again, and that's why I'll go back to it's a trap. It's easy to fall into. I mean, because we think, well, if we just follow the rules, well, okay, follow the rules, but a lot of times those rules require investment.
Yeah.
And so if we don't invest in getting better, then we're going to get passed over and passed by. And so the idea of this fairness thinking, it can kind of disguise itself as morality issue.
Sure.
When in truth, it isn't always there. Now, do sometimes you get screwed over because there is favoritism at work? Yeah, that does happen. All right. But
there's humans at work, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're going to have these kinds of relational issues where there are people in relation. And I mean, there's thousands of books written every year on this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So if humanity hasn't solved this issue yet, it's probably not going to be solved. Why? Because we create this fairness issue in our own heads.
Uh-huh.
We put it into our own lives. And so I think that, again, the only thing you can control is yourself.
Yes.
And so if you focus on the path that you have, that's probably what's going to be best for the loved ones in your life as well.
Well, and I'm glad you bring that up because sometimes we engage in this fairness trap, even with friends and family. Like, for example, why do I have to call you? Why don't you ever call me? To initiate a text conversation, I got to start it. You never text me. You never call me. You never. When I'll say right out the bat, once you get into a conversation with absolutes, now we have a failed conversation because it's never,
I'm out.
Now, well, because it's never 100% one way or the other way.
Right.
Could it be a majority of the time? Yes. But again, it comes back to have that conversation.
And again, you don't know what the other person is dealing with.
No.
Why they're not calling, why they're not initiating. Maybe they've got a lot of junk going on in their lives and they're so buried in that they just haven't really been able to do it. It's not that they don't care about you. It's that maybe they do need you to call them.
Uh-huh.
So, I don't know how that plays out, but I've definitely seen that.
Oh, yeah.
In my own life, in lives of people that I am close to. I mean, friends. I mean, all the things, right? Like there's people that you could text and they never answer you. Maybe that necessitates a drive to their house. I don't know.
Well,
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just depends on the level of care, right?
And ding, ding, ding. That's, sometimes this idea of fairness creates conflict. It fuels as conflict, because it comes down to who's right, who's wrong.
Right.
You are right. Congratulations. But the idea of,
it's only
again,
fair.
It is only fair that you are right. Exactly. Congratulations. But it comes down to the idea that, like with family, with friends, with siblings, we're looking at who's right rather than what's needed. We're talking about equity rather than empathy. Maybe somebody needs a little more support right now because you're right. Go over to their house. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're experiencing. Right. We don't know what's going on with them. If you haven't heard from them for a while or they aren't responding to your text, gee, I better go see Maurice. Then the idea is maybe you need to expend a little more this time and show a little compassion. I don't know. Like I say, this is a quicksand trap,
right.
This fairness concept, and it can actually be more. I just guess the idea that it is way more detrimental than it is helpful is my whole point in wanting to talk about this and helping expose this fallacy that is easy for us to fall into.
Yeah.
And so I guess part of it comes down to is, can we identify our triggers, these fairness triggers? Because if we know what to look for, can we, help head it off at the pass? Yeah. And so, I mean, part of it comes down to when you start feeling it's not fair and that pops in your head, okay, what's going into this internal dialogue that you're having with yourself? What's the situation that makes you feel or think this way, whether you're feeling devalued or ignored?
Sure.
What kind of behavior tends to activate your concept of this fairness rule book? All right. Is it your spouse, your partner, your coworker, a family member, your boss, whatever? All right. What's causing this? And lastly, focus on what can you do to get out of that quicksand trap.
I have to do something? That's not fair.
That is...
You should do it.
I should, but it's not me that's having the issue.
I'm always doing it for you.
You are, now. And that's just the way it should be.
Yeah, I mean, look, the only way out of a trap is either somebody has to help you out of it, or you got to figure a way out.
And that's kind of it. I mean, because when we're stuck in this trap, this fairness trap, it's going to slow down our ability to engage in action.
Yeah.
When we are caught up in this, well, it's just not fair. All right, congratulations. Do something about it. If you're going to sit there and wallow in self-pity, then it won't change. It won't get better. And so step out of it. Is it easy? No. It's not easy.
But what would we do? How would we change to make that happen?
All right. Well, look to ourselves to fix this. Like I was telling before, I get frustrated sometimes because I don't feel like the leads coming into the office are making their way to me. Okay, fine. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. But what can I do to create more leads?
I just can't get past this thought. I just can't get past it. My mind. No matter what I do, I've tried to read books. I watch TV or whatever. Like I try to distract myself from it. But I just cannot get past this fairness issue that I'm experiencing. Like what do I do?
Okay, then talk to somebody. Talk to a friend.
Okay,
talk to a coworker. Talk to a loved one. All right, talk to somebody that you think would help give you some clarity, some insight into how to address this issue you're feeling of being unfairly treated. And say, I don't know how to deal with this.
Right.
If you can't help yourself to get out of the trap, then throw a lifeline, phone a friend. Well, I guess I share that because that's in a game show, but ask for help.
Right.
And listen to that advice that they might give you.
Okay.
And understand that they're not trying to criticize you. They're not trying to belittle you or attack you, but listen with the idea that I want to change my mindset.
Okay.
Because a lot of times if we get stuck in this fairness trap, quicksand issue, a lot of times it's us. And we got to change our mindset. We got to look at it from a different point of view, a different perspective. Stop, get away from this idea that, it's a scoreboard issue, that we're keeping track, that you get a shot, I get a shot, you get a shot, I get a shot. It's move away from that. And so again, we feel like a victim. When we fall into this trap and we stay there, I'm being victimized. Well, no, you're not. Maybe not in the way you think you are. And so if you can't help yourself get out of that trap, then ask for help so that you can get out of that, because it is very debilitating. And one of the things too that can happen is you wind up alienating yourself. You alienate yourself from your friends, from your family, from those who actually like you and care about you and would be willing to help you. And so that's kind of
right.
I mean, and again, part of it comes down to ask. A lot of times this concept of fairness comes from an assumption, and our assumptions may be built on incorrect information. So ask. If you're feeling unfairly treated by your boss, go to your boss. Boss, I feel like I got passed over for a promotion, and it went to someone else who's been here with less time and less experience. Can you?
Right.
Again, why? Well, again, that would be a way to get feedback.
And and I think that that's good, right? Because like I said before, you just assume that we know, right? You assume that you know whether it was fair or not, but you don't really. The outcome might actually be fair based on your starting point, right? Like maybe that person really does have more experience than you think they did.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a lot that goes into hiring people, right? There's just fitness in the job. There's certain things like, and again, maybe you're just pursuing the wrong thing. Maybe that's not the thing that your boss sees you doing, and maybe you need to get some mentorship and coaching. And well, what is it? Where do you see me best fitting and growing?
Thank you.
So there's those kinds of things too.
Well, I mean, some other things we can do is focus on collaboration instead of equity, as you mentioned. A lot of times the way we ask, instead of saying, for example, it's only fair that you do more,
right?
Ask instead. Say that, but say it differently in a more friendly. Say, hey, would you be okay if you took this over and did this activity, whether it's at work or whatever? Ask for, would you mind doing this, rather than the other way, because as my daddy would always say, honey collects more bees than vinegar. And so and I have learned again and again, I will admit I'm not perfect at this.
Yeah.
I am far from it. But the idea of not just what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah.
So again, asking for assistance, asking for collaboration. All right. Again, the goal shouldn't be perfect balance. It should be mutual respect.
Right.
And, we could set boundaries. If somebody says no to you,
sure,
that's data, not defiance. And decide what you will do next. Rather than arguing about fairness, again, a lot of it comes back to us. As you have said, and I totally agree because I share the same thing with my client, it's not what happens to us, it's how we react, how we respond. So change how we respond, and maybe that will change our concept and not allow us to fall into this fairness trap.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I think that's great. I mean, I think that, for me, I don't really consider fairness much anymore in my life. But certainly when I was younger, I did, right? Everything was unfair. Everybody had more money than I did. That was unfair. Everybody had better jobs than I did. That was unfair. People had this or that, right? Keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing.
Yes.
All that. And I don't care about that stuff anymore. Maybe that's part of station in life or, my stage in life at this point. I just, that doesn't matter to me as much anymore. So I don't really think much about fairness. And interestingly enough, I think that once I dropped that idea from my life, I have progressed much more in all the other areas.
And there you go. It is hard to get to this. It's like having an aha moment. It should be your race with yourself to the finish line. It's I guess in some ways it'd be like a cross country match where you're just, or golf. I guess I don't play golf, but a lot of times in golf, you're trying to beat your own score.
Barely anybody plays golf.
Really? Okay.
The right way anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But when you're, again, this isn't a team sport. Life is not a team sport. Life is an individual competition.
Yeah.
And the competition should be with yourself instead of with those around you.
Exactly.
And congratulations on getting to that mindset, because once you get there, now you're right. It's amazing how much life has gotten easier. I always tell, I got a lot of clients that are frequently worried about financial issues. And, I got to work more, got to work more. And I hear that. But I also know that I used to live that lifestyle. And once I got myself out of that lifestyle and I stopped chasing the dollar, I found I was a lot happier and I had a whole lot more money.
Right.
And so in this case, it's a mindset change.
Yep.
So I don't know. Again, the fallacy of fairness tricks us into believing that balance must always be equal and that others should see and feel and respond just like we do. Be like me.
What a boring world that sounds like. I mean, no offense to you, right? But if we were all the same,
oh yeah,
that would be terrible.
Oh, absolutely.
I think there's a word for that, and most of us shy away from it. So,
okay.
Anyway, yeah, I think it's wonderful.
Well, again, fairness isn't freedom. Communication, compassion, and self-respect are.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, it's not fair, but you know what? Our time has expired for this session. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you engaging me on this. That was fair.
Yeah. I would agree.
All right. Well, until next time, friends, my name is Rod.
I'm Scott.
See you later.
Bye-bye.